It's kind of chilly this morning, but I've got a video kind of bumbling around in my brain this morning, so I thought while the kids are still kind of slowly waking up this morning, I'd come out and do this video for you. So I've been doing this series on, we call it How to Live Poor, Financial Advice from a Broke Farmer. And y'all seem to be enjoying these videos. I hope they're good for at least a little bit of entertainment, but I also hope that you're learning something from them, or at least, getting some little thoughts that you can adjust and tweak to apply to your own lives. Everybody's financial situation is going to be a little bit different, but I thought it might be helpful if I kind of tell you my credentials. I want to start by just clarifying that most of the financial advice that I give is based off of the Dave Ramsey plan. If you've never heard of Dave Ramsey, I recommend you look him up. He's pretty good, but I'm going to tell you, if you're on the low income side, listening to his show, we started listening to it probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And when we were listening to it, it kind of made more sense to us. But listening to it lately, he tends to get a lot of calls from really high income earners that are very deeply in debt and just doing ridiculous stuff. And so if you're a very low income earner, you may listen to it and feel like chucking your phone out the window, because it's going to feel like, if I had that much money, I could definitely survive. But if you're kind of that middle ground income or even upper income and you just feel like you can't get any traction with saving money and those sort of things, he's a great source for kind of getting your finances in order. I would say that most of our experience, yes, we base it off of that, but most of our experience just comes from our lifestyle. This is just how we live. I mentioned in another video the other day, Brandon and I and the kids have been full-time farming for 3 years now. Our business is 6 years old, but 3 of those years we've been full-time farming. Typically, when you start a business, you want to work the business on the side while you increase your profits to be able to provide an income. And what we discovered with this particular farm business is I needed more help, and we weren't making enough for me to be able to pay someone to come help, but I was not physically able to get to all the things that needed to be done. And so about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years now, we went full-time and brought Brandon home for him to be able to help too. And along with that, we just had to make a lot of lifestyle cuts. Now, we were not living frivolously in the first place. I'm a very cheap person anyway. We were not living crazy, but we made some cuts. Things like we sold our house and now we live in the shop house, which is not even finished yet. Different things like that we've done to be able to stay home and work this full time. So some of the things that we do aren't going to quite make sense because we are just cutting things instead of increasing income. We cut lifestyle so that we could focus on building the business, and as the business grows, that will increase our income, and then we can go back to doing things that we were doing before. I would say our current income, occasionally Facebook or a news story or whatever will scroll across and it will say, this is the poverty line in the US, or this is the poverty line in your state. We're kind of close to that. So on the low income side, we definitely understand that. So when you watch these videos, if you're like, well, they have to have more money than me because she said they go eat out every once in a while, probably not. It's just a matter of how we prioritize our money. And everybody's situation is going to be different. If you're in debt, no, you're probably not going to go out to eat. You shouldn't go out to eat. You should be focused on paying off debt. If you have a really high income, but you've got like a lot of student loans or something, you're going to live like you have a lower income. It's going to be different things like that you take the pieces of what I say and you go, okay, she says low income, but I'm high income. How can I change this to fit my life? Or she says low income, but I don't think she really understands low income, so how can I cut this even more to fit my life? And that's how you're going to apply it. Again, I'm a cheap person to begin with, so some of this just comes natural, and sometimes I give tips and I'm like, doesn't everybody do this? Like, I don't even know if this is helpful. Everybody should know how to do this. But some of the tips that I give, hopefully you'll be able to take and apply. Things like when I break down how much it costs to eat a meal, you can take that, whether you spend a lot of money on groceries or a little money on groceries, you can get out a piece of paper and you can calculate how much this plate of food costs. And is it logical? And maybe you might make some decisions One money saving decision I would recommend is to cut out organic. And I know a lot of people are going to throw rocks at me. I'm a farmer. I want you eating fresh produce. I need you eating fresh produce. That's what pays my bills. But organic is largely a ripoff, and people will see organic and they'll spend way more money on organic goldfish crackers. Well, a goldfish cracker is still a goldfish cracker, even if it says organic on it. Organic lettuce or whatever. I would encourage you to do a little digging, because organic probably doesn't mean what you think it means, and you're probably spending more money on something you're not really getting that much value for it. I would say what we do on our farm is a lot closer to what people imagine in their heads when they say organic, and we are not now, nor do we ever intend to be certified organic. So just kind of do some digging and see, is it my imagination telling me that this is better, or is it really better? That sort of thing. There's other cuts you can make. You can cut off your TV subscriptions. You can cut off Amazon Prime. We talked about that the other day, how people spend money because they're shopping and they don't actually need anything. They're just like, had a bad day at work, let me scroll through junk that I don't need, and you end up buying stuff that you don't need. And there's like this steady trickle of money out of your account. And this tends to hit middle and high income earners more than low income earners. Low income earners have to pay attention to every dollar, so there's not that opportunity to be like, oh, that's cute, bye, because there's not money for it. But middle and high income earners can end up living like they're low income earners because they're dropping it $10 and $15 at a time on useless stuff. Now, I'm not going to tell you if you quit buying coffee, you will all of a sudden be able to afford a house, but I would suggest that you maybe do the math on how much does your coffee actually cost. And like, if you were to go buy a coffee maker and buy some cream and buy a buttload of sugar, could you make the same coffee at home for less than what you pay to get it out? Just those sort of things where you're just more aware of where the money is going, so you're not just spending money like crazy and then you're like, it was only $7, but it was $7 5 times, there's $35. Like, it adds up really quick. Anyways, those are the sort of things that I'm hoping to give tips and tricks on. Again, I hope these videos have been helpful. I hope that you trust me when I say that we know how to stretch a dime. It's not just made up stuff over here. And again, if you've never heard of Dave Ramsey, if you've never looked him up, look him up, because he's got some great ideas. I'm going to be throwing in his principles. But if you're a low income earner, just be prepared. Somebody's going to call in and be like, I just don't know if we could afford to have a kid because we only make $200,000. And you're going to be like, I've never seen $200,000. So just be prepared for that kind of shock statement to come across your radio. But you will learn stuff that way. So anyways, I hope these videos are helping. Let me know in the comments if there's anything specific you need to save money on, and I might have a tip or a trick for you.